Bene's Bloody Bits.
Here we go again. It is Where's the Blu-ray, Part 3. I'm
Netflix
Jason
edition.
Bene. He's Malcolm
And I'm
Harvey.
Malcolm.
How are you doing, man? We haven't talked since last week.
I'm doing really good. And it's time to Netflix and chill. Yeah.
So basically what Where's the Blu-ray is movies that Malcolm and I would like to see released on Blu-ray.
Yes.
But there's a little bit of twist to this one. We've kind of done movies that were either on Laserdisc or VHS, but streaming has so many original movies and television series. So not only is this a streaming edition, this is specifically Netflix films.
Just in case people wonder, for my choices, some of them are questionable. I admit it. Some of them will be questionable to most people, but we'll go with the flow as it happens. Hey, George!
So yeah, we have 10 films total, 5 from me, 5 from Malcolm, and I'm going to just jump in with The Curse of Bridge Hollow. Now, this came out a couple years ago, and the director, his name is Jeff Wadlow. And you might be like, well, who's this guy? He actually directed the slasher film from 2005, Cry Wolf.
Oh, I love that film.
He's also done 3 films with Blumhouse. He did Fantasy Island, Truth or Dare, and then the film that came out this year, Imaginary.
What Truth or Dare is it? Is it the one where they get those big, eyes and they're like, ooh, or is it the other one?
That Truth or Dare. The one with the really cute brunette that was also in Fantasy Island.
Isn't that the one where she has the sex and she's got the eyes and she kills him?
It's almost like Smile before Smile.
Yeah, but with the eyes, isn't it?
With the eyes, exactly.
Yeah.
So this is a horror comedy. It's, a family moves to a small town. In their new home, they kind of release accidentally a curse, and it kind of, all the Halloween decorations come to life.
Ooh.
So if you like films like Goosebumps, and in particular the sequel, Goosebumps 2 Haunted Halloween, you could play a double feature of Goosebumps 2 and The Curse of Bridge Hollow.
This with Spirit Halloween. And you're
the Spirit Halloween, which, yes, there's your triple feature. But this is a staple. I think if you watch it, you're going to like it. And it's something you're going to want to return to every Halloween.
And it being a comedy, you can tell because it's got one of the Wayans brothers in it.
It's got Marlon Wayans. It's got, what's her name from Destiny's Child? She was also in Freddy vs. Jason.
The sexy Kelly Rowland.
There you go. It's really good visual effects, good comedy horror. It's entertaining. It's I definitely recommend it. I would love to see it on Blu-ray one day, but we'll see.
Okay, it would have a lovely slip.
So that's my first choice. Let's see where Malcolm's going to go here.
Oh. Hey, Nola Holmes! Yay! There's a third one coming out. What's interesting about this is Nancy Springer wrote these from 2006 to 2000 and I think it's 23, and she was sued by the Conan Arthur Doyle estate, her and Netflix, because of the uses of Sherlock Holmes, and they lost. Thus, they're making a third one. So that was quite cool, right? This says that Millie Bobby Brown here was actually really cute. I can't believe it. Seeing her in Stranger Things, seeing her in this, wow, beautiful girl, I think she's going to do well. I think she's like 20 now. Anyway, that's me talking about women again. Anyway, this is interesting because I didn't expect much of this. Donna loves Sherlock Holmes, Donna, my wife, and I've been watching Sherlock Holmes. I love Basil Rathbone, Jeremy Brett, you name it. I enjoy it. And I believe this is from the same director who did A for Acid, which starred Martin Clunes, which was a TV movie based on the acid murders, where this guy back in, I think it was like the early 900s, 1800s, was putting people in acid tubs to disintegrate their bodies, from the same director. So Enola Holmes is the sister of basically Sherlock Holmes. And She goes on the run because her mum goes missing. She goes looking for her mum. She meets this boy called Lord Tuski, I think his name is, or something like that. And she basically tries to help him, helps her, looks for her mum, doesn't find her mum. Her mum ends up finding her, right, because she's a Holmes. Well, the two brothers are looking for her, and Henry Cavill plays Sherlock Holmes, which he plays really well. But he just walks around most of it. But it's a fun family version of Sherlock Holmes. It reminded me a lot of Harriet the Spy in a way. You know, you'd go to the cinema, you'd watch this with your family, and you just really enjoy it. And I like it. I mean, I watched the second one because I watched this when it originally came out. And the third one's coming, so well, yeah, you should watch it, George. Definitely. It's really good. It's a bit long. It's 2 hours and 7 minutes long, I believe, because I looked up the times today. And but other than that, it's a good film. And I'm looking forward to the third one because it's based off the first book as well by that Nancy Springer. So, you know, except in the book, she's 14 and this she's 16.
Before I move on to my next pick, I actually want people to know I did drop an interview today with an actress named Leela Lasso. She's in Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. So with like any video, I hope you guys can do these things to promote the channel. It really does go a long way. Small channel like mine, trying to make it, you know, in this big ocean of YouTubers. So thank you if you can do that.
I'd just like to say about your interview, I watched it earlier, guys. It was really good. It's a good length, you know, so you can watch it before you're doing stuff with a great up-and-coming actress as well, isn't she? Like, she's been in a few things, but she's probably going to do a lot more.
I will put that on my list to watch. Yes, you are late.
The Bold and
Beautiful
Beautiful
support group. Yeah, there's someone inside your house. I love slasher films. This is kind of like a new school. You know, it's not going to blow you away.
I didn't even know this was on there.
Yeah, this is probably at least 2-3 years old. Very solid. One of those films where you're like, dang it, I'd like to add it to my collection. I'm not going to say too much about the plot without giving stuff away.
Yeah.
I really recommend you check it out. The interesting thing about when you go into the Netflix, it's so overwhelming with the amount of original movies, TV shows, reality TV, that when a movie first comes out, you'll see it like on the front page. Then you kind of have to, once the movie's out, it gets lost. But being Netflix originals, they don't pull these. I mean, these are true Netflix productions. They're not acquisitions. So if you're a slasher fan, this is really good. The setting's great, some good kills. And yeah, you haven't heard of it, so I'm glad I picked it.
I hadn't heard of it. It's quite sad, actually.
Well, how long have you been with Netflix? Like, how long have you had your account?
I've had my account with Netflix for 14 years.
Okay. But the problem is when you go to the theaters, you buy physical media, you watch stuff, you know, and there's not just Netflix. There's so many different streaming platforms that it gets overwhelming. It's almost like
it does.
Too much of a good thing, right? It's hard to keep up with everything.
Well, the problem is with Netflix is I look up Netflix originals or Netflix exclusives, and half the time they don't just give you the Netflix ones. They give you things like, let's say, Grown Ups, Adam Sandler comedy that's only on there for this period before they take it off. So sometimes things get lost in the shuffle.
It is. I try to put, the one good thing about Netflix is generally, if you know something's going to come out a month in advance, you can actually look it up. You can find it.
Oh, yeah. Notify me as well is nice.
You can kind of put on the notifications to let you know. A lot of other streaming platforms don't do that. So if you forget, like I know July 10th, the newest season of Beavis and Butthead is going to drop on Paramount Plus. Exactly. And they've been showing a lot of commercials on TV, but, you know, kind of hold. Okay, Cornholio. But yeah, that's just a word of advice to kind of keep up with the streaming is, okay, here we go.
Oh, Ballerina. I watched this movie recently just for the actress.
when I
And I've got to be
pulled
honest, I don't remember anything about the movie. Just I remember that she doesn't get a kit off.
when I pulled the artwork, I was like, he probably could care less about the plot if it was any good. I saw this, cute Asian actress on the cover. I was like,
Now
this is a Malcolm film.
I can tell you about the movie. Basically, Ballerina, it's basically a John Wick style movie about a woman who kills because she meets this old friend of hers from school when it's her birthday, and she hasn't gone with anyone in her life, and so they become friends again, and she gets killed. So she goes on revenge because it's about the girl's a ballet dancer and she wants revenge for her. So basically, she goes, I think it's very John Wick with the whole, oh, you killed my dog, so except it's you killed my friend. And that's the best way of describing it. It's not the greatest movie compared to something like John Wick, but for someone like me, it's a lot more fun because it's Korean, you know. For me, Korean hot women running around, shooting men, gets me a little bit excited. What can I say? So it's a good film. I wouldn't recommend it to the average person. The problem with Netflix with this film, and I can tell you this, it's dubbed. You can watch it obviously subtitled, but when originally put on, it was dubbed, and I was like, what the hell? They're not talking in English. And then, but I think that's a bit lazy that they dub it, especially when it's not that old of a movie. I think it came out like 2 years ago. Dubbing shouldn't exist anymore.
It's a Netflix original. Was it shot in Korea?
Yeah, it's completely Korean, and it hasn't got a release in Korea, so it obviously was filmed directly for Netflix. Because I did look beforehand, just in case, because Netflix have a tendency of saying some things are original when they're not, like The Fall, for instance, the TV series of Gillian Anderson. That's a BBC show, plus it's on Blu-ray. So that's why I had to keep checking, just in case, especially on foreign ones. But yeah, it's basically John Wick. I don't want to spoil it because there are some good bits in it. The shooting and fighting choreography is pretty good on certain scenes, but I won't compare it with something like Atomic Blonde, for instance, because I'd say this is better. But that's me.
But you give it a recommendation.
I'd give it 4 erections out of 5.
4 erections. Okay, I'm going to cheat with this pick. It's actually Fear Street, which is 3 films, but I'm going to kind of put them together because if they ever did get
you can't do that. That's cheating.
It's my channel. I do whatever I want. So there's no cheating. Well, I didn't want to break it down and go like Fear Street, and then the second pick, the next Fear Street, and then the third. That's wasting, But anyways, this was kind of an event for Netflix. This was 3 movies from the R.L. Stine book series.
Yes.
3 full-length films that dropped 3 weeks. And it started with Fear Street 1994. The second one was Fear Street 1978. And then it went to Fear Street 1666. And it's basically about this curse through the ages. And it's really well done. You can see it's polished. It is almost theatrical release. These totally could have been in theaters. I have heard rumors that Netflix was either going to open their own theaters or I don't know. I felt like I didn't mind watching these at home, but man, these could have really been.
They do 3 more, aren't
they? They're making one right now. I think it's going to be kind of like a standalone film.
Yeah, I know they've got plans for 3 more, but I think they're standalone ones.
Yeah, I mean, the ratings were off the chart. And if we know the way the ratings deal with streaming in general is hours watched. That's kind of like their version of the Nielsen ratings for television. They just look at total hours watched. And this thing went through the roof. I'm surprised it took them this long to start more because it did really well. I need to go back and watch them. Every timeline is a little different, obviously. And there's a little bit of slasher element. There's supernatural. And then almost the 1666 plays like, something like, Wicca or something out of witchcraft. It just kind of hits on all, 3 different kinds of subgenres. And it's really well done.
Yeah.
And I would totally buy the shit out of it.
I watched them when they came out, and they were a lot of fun. Like you, I need to revisit them because I've only watched them the once. But I remember them standing out in my mind as, oh, I wish I could get these on Blu-ray because I'd really love that, like in the collection. I mean, you can get, obviously, bootlegs, as they say, but I don't agree with that.
I mean, even if
It's
the
never the
picture
same quality,
quality,
is it?
I mean, even if the picture quality is similar, I know they're floating out there. They're everywhere. All these streaming movies that are not available on disc, you can get a version, and some with really good slip covers. But I feel like the tide will eventually change. The dam will crack, and some of these will start to get let out into the physical media world. I just think
they will.
Yeah.
4K.
All right. Let's go from Fear Street to Baboon.
Ooh, Red Notice. I really like this film. I was really surprised when I put on, but I liked it so much because Ryan Reynolds basically plays an art thief who steals, Nathan Drake style, if you're a fan of Uncharted. And Gal Gadot plays Bishop, who's another art thief, and Dwayne Johnson plays a copper who's chasing after him. And they end up working together. It's got some great music. It's a lot of fun. There's some good comedy in it. But I will say, Ryan Reynolds is basically playing himself like he does in almost everything. Oh, you love me, didn't you? And all this to the person. And he plays, thingy. What I don't understand is there's 2 more of these coming out. I can't believe it. Because to me, it just seems a bit. But yeah, if you want to watch this, watch it for Gal Gadot because she's stunning in this movie. Watching her in that red dress, swinging around the rock and lifting her leg up to the sky and kicking the ceiling. Oh, my word. I rewinded that multiple times. Nothing beats her Wonder Woman, now, I'm going to be honest. Seeing her in the first Wonder Woman. But yes.
Well, I mean, anytime you have Dwayne Johnson, Gal Gadot, Ryan Reynolds talk about a film that totally could have been a theatrical. I mean, the budget on this, I don't know what it was, but it had to have been huge just to pay their salaries. Yeah. And it's an action film with shit blowing up all the time. So,
it's not like Thomas Crown Affair. It's more like Uncharted, in my view, because the whole point is they're looking for the 3 Cleopatra eggs to steal to get this big money reward at the end from this person who wants them for his daughter, Cleopatra, for a wedding. So they get the first one. There's then the second one, and then they got to get the third one. That's the story. So it's very Uncharted. Let's go across the world looking for these. It's not compared to Indiana Jones, but I won't compare it to Indiana Jones at all because there isn't much actual tomb exploring and stuff like that, if that makes sense. But it's a decent comedy and it's a lot of fun. I like it. I think it's fun. I'm hoping for the second one to be just as good a film, but I was shocked that they'd make 2 more because I just thought it had a decent ending.
It's not Indiana Jones or National Treasure. It's just more of a action adventure.
Yeah, it's more like action adventure with silliness. I wish I could compare it to a movie off the top of my head, but it's basically a comedy where they do that stuff. If you like Indiana Jones and you like adventure, sure. I'll tell you what it reminded me of. More like Fast and the Furious, not because they're driving around in fast cars, but because of the whole aspect of going from one place to another to grab something.
Now, this film, Night Books, is really well done. It's fantasy horror, but I think it leans more to fantasy, and you can tell by the artwork. This is, again, a film I don't think a lot of people have seen. The acting's great. The little boy is a horror fan, so you automatically connect to him. What's the level of nudity? I think he's talking about Red Notice. Go ahead. You can.
He's talking about this movie. He's talking about this movie.
Oh, well, Night Books, there's no nudity. So does Red Notice have any nudity since we're talking about it?
No, sadly, because if it did, I'd have given it a higher rating.
Now, Night Books, his name is slipping me. He directed that film that James Gunn produced, the evil Superman, little boy. The little boy who's like Superman, but he's evil.
Oh, you talking about Brightburn?
Thank you. Same director. Yes. This is really kind of like a underrated. Red Notice, haha.
I think he's just trying to think because he was starting to feel good because he realized what the cover was, the poster.
To be honest with you, I mean, Netflix does rated R films, but the original ones, I rarely see nudity at all, even if they're rated R.
365 is an erotic one, isn't it? And part 2. I'm surprised they're not on your list. They're Netflix exclusives.
Again, I kind of based my picks. I have my queue, and I kind of keep things there because I'm like, if I remove them, I won't remember what they are, just because you can't own them, right? So you kind of have to have some way of remembering it.
Dementia.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I had about 25 picks that I had to narrow it down to 5, so I can definitely see us making a return visit to.
To be fair, I think Netflix movies are very forgettable. Not because they're bad, but like you said, because they're not right there in front of you on the shelf. You don't always remember the actual name, but you will remember the movie. So I get it, exactly.
Well, I think with physical media, there's a ritual.
Yeah.
You look at the artwork, slipcover or not, you put it in, you see the logo, right? There's just this routine, this comfort that we get into as collectors. And it's great to be able to just use my remote control, scan, hit play, Netflix logo, it starts, but it does miss that kind of routine that we're all used to. And then you can put it on
the cover, smelling the disc, testing the hole, see if it's big enough, putting it in, seeing if it leaves any marks, then taking it out, putting it in the player, and pressing play.
And there is the option on Netflix to go to the extras and actually watch a little behind the scenes or the trailer. I forget that it's there sometimes. It's just kind of retraining my brain. That was the hardest thing for me to adapt to, was streaming, was just what I was used to doing had to be different. But Night Books, anyway, it's very, very well done, visually good, a great villain. The actress, again, I'm not remembering her name.
Is she the one who's in Jessica Jones?
Yes.
She's that weird one. I've always had a thing for her face. She's like Anna Taylor-Joy. You kind of want to see her eyes pop out a bit more.
Yeah, she's kind of got the goth look in this film, but it's again, Night Books, great film. Let's see. I think we might have a theme here with Malcolm.
Oh yeah, look who's in it. So this is a Mission Impossible kind of rip-off, but with basically a woman instead. So you've got her working for MI6 as some sort of helper, analyst type person, but really she works for a secret organisation called the Charters, the Nine of Hearts, who work undercover as the good guys, helping MI6 and other people from getting killed by killing the people for them while they're on the mission. So the Nine of Hearts, who works for Charter, they've got a thing called the Heart. The Heart basically is a bit like Minority Report. Minority Report, they can see the crimes coming, they can do all this, and basically it gives them a percentage of where someone will be, what they're going to do, if this kill's going to happen, and they stop it. Well, you've got the guy from 50 Shades of Grey. Is it Jamie Doonan? That guy? Hey, because I know you would have watched them. You watch 50 Shades of Grey and all them?
No.
But they're erotic, aren't they? Aren't they your type of movie?
They're erotic, but they're trying too hard. And I heard that they were like erotic for like middle-aged women that thought this was erotic. So I felt
you're not a middle-aged woman. I'm confused. But anyway, but yeah, so he's in them as the lead. Jamie Doonan, I think his name is, or Dooman or something. And he's the main villain, right? And he wants to destroy Charter. He wants to destroy all these people. In the mountains. Yeah, they start off in the mountains. MI6 are in the mountains, and she has to slide down this massive pole. Yeah, and don't get me started on that because I'll talk about other poles and all this. Anyway, he does well. If he prefers more aggressive, King, he'd like 50 Shades of Grey.
50. I heard it's 50 Shades of Lame, so I don't want to watch it.
Well, I did watch the first one. It was boring as hell. But anyway, so
okay, so you're giving me shit. And then you say it's not good, so why should I even bother?
I thought we could relate on that, but I guess not. I'm a little bit disappointed. Anyway, so it was a decent movie. I agree. It was a decent movie, but it has a bit of a convoluted plot if you don't pay much attention, because you're like, why is this guy so powerful? Are these people working for him? But there's all these different people around. There's all these twists and turns, and it's decent. It's not as good as Mission Impossible, if you ask me. I think it's better than the last Mission Impossible movie that came out, if you don't count all the ridiculous stunts and all this other stuff. But it's basically your standard rip-off of a Mission Impossible film. I enjoyed it. Now, the question is what's the level of nudity in this? The answer to that is there's none. You know, it's very annoying, very frustrating. You know, even when she gets kidnapped in the movie and they take her clothes off to inject her with a tracker, it's still up here. So, but it's decent.
I don't think she's one to do it. She was in one of the Fast and the Furious films in her bathing suit, and that was probably the closest.
She was in 4. She was in 4 of them. Then the last one, so she was in 5 of them. But she was very forgettable because they were her early roles.
Yeah, she was in the bathing suit. I think that's the most you're going to get out of her.
You know why, didn't you? Because she was a pageant winner. That was her thing. She won a pageant in 2004.
No, she's absolutely beautiful, and and you know what, she can act too. I will say she's not just a pretty face. Like, she has a charisma. When you watch the Wonder Woman films, she brought something to it other than she was good looking. So she's definitely.
I will say this. No, go on.
She's eye candy, but she can act.
She's no Linda Carter for multiple reasons, all right? Especially the Invisible Jet. Oh, that was the classic. Yeah, there we go. And I used to, okay, just slight turn off quickly, but say 1 second. In the original Wonder Woman, I used to wish and pray if I'd wake up one day and be that ape that was grabbed over to Linda Carter and was bouncing up and down. That's why, to this day, I try and get as hairy as possible. But anyway, going back to this. You know, yes, stunning, incredible actress. No, the problem is in this movie is most of the movie she looks depressed and angry, and you know it's a bit depressing at that stage. But I like the movie. I would like it to come out on Blu-ray, and I'd like to add it to the collection when it's like £2.50. Yeah, the second Wonder Woman was terrible. Everybody agrees with you, George.
No, I don't agree with you.
What?
It's not a good movie, but it's equivalent to like why I kind of enjoy Superman 3. It's not a good film, but I feel like there's some similarities between the two.
You mean Superman 4, surely?
Well, no, but 3 is not good until you get the evil Superman versus good Superman. All that's great. But I like Richard Pryor, but once you put him in a film, you're making it a comedy. I felt like Wonder Woman 1984. I just love the retroness of it.
Okay.
The time period. And I get though why people don't like it, but I think I'll go there. I think people are harder on women. Anything, Star Wars films driven, superhero films driven. If it's a male dominated superhero film and it's bad, it's going to get more leeway. I think it's going to get more leeway amongst fans, especially guys, than like everybody said the Marvels was horrible. It wasn't. It wasn't Avengers, but I still found it to be entertaining.
I'll be honest, I'm always harder for women. And I always try and push as far as I can with them to see the best.
I don't know. Good movie or bad movie, I would rather watch women in spandex and tights than men in spandex and tights, but that's just me. So
I don't know. I'm a big wrestling fan, so I might argue with you on that.
Well,
yeah,
wrestling, that's a whole nother discussion.
But okay. A quick story. Superman 3. When I was a kid, the bit where she turns into the robot terrified me for years.
No, it's Superman 3 is flawed. Superman 4, which was Canon Films, Golden Globus.
Alex.
I love the Nuclear Man, right? I love the villain, but you could tell it was really cheaply made. It was just.
Before you talk about this film, I just want to show a picture and ask people if Leatherface looks like a rotten, manky penis.
Dude, nobody can see anything in that. Yeah, I can see that. Well, yeah.
It looks like a rotten manky penis.
Well, you are the expert on those things. So
But now you can carry on with your movie because
Hey,
that's terrible.
when
Go on.
you pulled up that photo, did you do a hawk tui first?
I did hot tour. I had to get nice and wet, so it looked like one.
Okay. So the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, like the Halloween series, timeline-wise is so all over the place. They're equally confusing. There's sequels, there's remakes, there's prequels, there's sequels to remakes, and this one kind of plays like a direct sequel to the original, a la Halloween 2018, as well as Leprechaun Returns. Yes, his mask is kind of wonky, but the movie was brutal.
It's a penis.
It's whatever. It's brutal. It's bloody. They brought back the original character, Sally. He kills a busload of fucking influencers like they deserved. And I think it's a great film, whether you're a completist or not with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. This one got a lot of hate. But I think people need to realize it's not an 80s horror film. It's not 90s. It's not 2000s or 2010s. It's 2020. So it's not going to necessarily look. I know there was some accusations of it being woke, or I don't know. When I watched it, it went right over my head if it was. I don't get caught up with those things. I know they're going to do another one of these films, and I totally enjoyed Texas Chainsaw.
Can I say some things about this film?
That's why I brought you on.
Okay, I purposely watched it today so I could talk about it.
So you can rag on it.
So I could rag on it, yeah. There's a few things I don't know. There's a few things that I think ruin this movie. Now, I'm not saying that you're in the wrong here at all. I think anyone can enjoy a movie for what they see in it. For me, the thing I didn't like about the movie was all I kept wanting was, the girl who gets killed at the end. Right? All I said from the minute I saw on the screen was, please kill her and use her head as a mop. Right? Because that was like all I could think of throughout the movie. Now, my wife's got curly hair, so, I'm not curliest against people's hair or anything, But the whole thing is a mess to me. I have this conversation many times about horror. To me, this is a gore movie. It's not a horror movie. It's a gore movie because there's barely any tension in it. And, it's the 2020s and people can say, different times that. And it is, I agree. But when I think about the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I think about how much of a masterpiece that movie is. It's brutal. It's realistic. It's got this grime filter. It's dark. There's barely any blood. There's barely any real thing until you really see the ending. And it just feels so visceral. As this movie, when you got kids on a bus and they're like, oh, look, all this, it just becomes silly. It becomes the caricature of what Leatherface is to me. But saying that, you could say that about the fourth movie. You could say that about the second movie. You could say that about all of them, But I do think that this movie is really bad, But if you enjoy the gore and you enjoy the silliness, like when she shoots at Leatherface and he goes round the corner and then you hear him revving up the chainsaw, he comes running out and she misses him with the shotgun. And he goes, oh, ho, ho, and then he lifts her up and goes, oh, right? And then she's still alive, shooting from the bins. It's a bit silly, but it's fun. I'm not going to give it that. For 74 minutes, it's fun. But I just feel like the movie lost everything of what Texas Chainsaw Massacre is. The family element isn't there. And what are they doing in that town? Like, why have they got a home right in the middle of a town that's practically empty other than the kids and a few adults? Just seems a bit to me. I think that I feel like it's a very negative experience if you want a feeling of a true horror film. And I feel like that's the problem nowadays with a lot of horror. It's the gore, it's the thing, but it's not the atmosphere that gets into your brain and makes you jump. That tick isn't there. The gore is there, and the violence element, and the thing. Like, I didn't feel anything for any of the characters.
No, the thing about it is the original film is the only one that's probably truly scary, and they did it with no blood. It's just you think you see a lot, but you don't. But look at something like Part 2. It came out in '86. Yeah. It's a slapstick comedy. everything's being lampooned. Everything's kind of like a joke, but it's gory. But it kind of reflected the late 80s where horror was going. So I don't try to compare to the original all the time with sequels because I realize they are a sign of the times of when they're getting made.
Yeah, and this is what this one is technically when you think about it, because sorry, Kate, I just want to say this quickly.
Chainsaw wielding, and I got that. I kind of turned off my brain, enjoyed it because I've seen so many bad.
Yeah.
I didn't like the Platinum Dunes remake and prequel. I thought they were too shiny. They looked like Michael Bay produced them, and they looked like Michael Bay directed them. They were just very. Yeah, Jessica Biel was nice to look at, and they were gory, but they just felt too polished.
And Jordana Brewster and the other one. Ooh.
Yeah, they just look too polished to me. And at least this one, of course, it's going to look pristine because they're shooting on digital camera. So it's not going to have that documentary style of the 74 film.
Oh, it didn't need that. It didn't need that at all. I mean, you said it goes by, thingy. And if you think about it, if each movie goes by the times, this movie makes sense in the sense of you need these constant kills to keep people's attention, to shock audiences to a degree, because the one thing we learn about now is people struggle to keep up focusing on a movie that doesn't have much going on for it. That's why you get jump scares constantly in horror movies, because they've got to constantly make people pay attention so they're looking at their phones.
Well, I will die on this hill that I enjoyed it. Too bad you didn't enjoy it, but that's okay.
I didn't say I didn't enjoy it. I just said I didn't think it was as good as the other ones.
I thought it was really well done. So let's see. That was my fifth and final pick. Let's get to yours.
Nowhere. You've seen this, right?
No.
This is truly horrific. Right? So basically, at the beginning, she's with her partner and they want to escape out of a country, but it's taken over, like Law and Order style. And so they pay to be put into these metal containers. They're taken in the metal containers, and basically, because I don't want to spoil too much of it, because this is one of those films where it's twist after twist. There you go. George saw it. It's a really good movie. And basically, one thing happens to another, and she ends up on her own. And they end up falling off a ship, and she sees people like drowning in the water on the other side of the thing while she's floating. Well, she's pregnant. She's in there on her own. And basically, she ends up lost at sea, all alone, trying to survive. And it gets really, really hard. And you're like, is she going to survive? The ending is a little bit, I don't know, a little bit of a setup maybe. But I enjoyed the film, and I think it's one of those films that you have to genuinely watch to fully get, because otherwise the plot twists, even though you might go, okay, one on her own, how many twists is there? Like phone calls and stuff. It's a brilliant movie. I think it's underrated, and I do think it's very horrific. It's a thriller, but it's more horror, if you ask me. The idea of being stuck in a confined location with water coming up and everything, and not being able to make it, and also you're pregnant and you might have to give birth at any moment. It's an incredible tour de force by the actress, and I highly recommend it.
And she is by herself on top of this
for most of the movie,
and she's pregnant. Even if you're not pregnant, there's no food, there's ocean water, but the sun from the daylight will beat down on you. Nighttime will be creepy as hell because you can't see anything. And then there's no waves out there. You could get tipped over. So just the artwork alone is unsettling, just because that's one of the scariest things I can think of, just to be stuck out in the ocean by yourself with nobody around.
Horrifying. Absolutely horrifying.
Is this an American film?
I don't think so. I think it's a foreign film that's been dubbed. Let me have a look. I think it's Spanish, I believe. Let me have a quick look. Sorry to look on my phone, guys, but I don't want to. Let's have a look. It is. Yeah, it's Spanish.
Spanish. Okay. So let's just do a recap. So everybody, if they showed up late, my 5 picks are The Curse of Bridge Hollow, There's Someone Inside Your House, the Fear Street Trilogy, Night Books, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Don't listen to what Malcolm said. Malcolm's picks are Enola Holmes.
Yes.
Ooh, Ballerina, Just for the Cute Woman.
Yeah.
Red Notice, Art of Stone, and Nowhere. So 5 movies from me, 5 movies from Malcolm, 10 total. We're kind of doing some wishful thinking here. I don't think any of these are ever going to receive a Blu-ray release because it goes against what Netflix stands for, which is streaming and numbers and analytics. But maybe one day things will change. I can think of another 20 movies from Netflix. There's some from Hulu I could do. The Hellraiser remake I thought was better than most people gave it credit for. It doesn't hold a candle to the original, but it's well done.
Not, yeah.
There's another Clive Barker anthology on Hulu called Books of Blood.
Yes.
Right, that I really enjoy. Is there any other ones in the realm of streaming that you were thinking about putting on here that wasn't Netflix?
There was a few. I see about putting Grey Man on at one point. I was thinking of putting.
I know I put you on the spot.
Actually, you know what? While we're thinking, guys, why don't you tell us some of yours?
Yeah, what are some streaming exclusive films you like to see on Blu-ray, some physical media releases? While you guys are thinking of that, next Monday is July 1st. So Malcolm and I will be back same time to look at the Vinegar Syndrome releases for July 1st. But what it is like the first week of January is subscriber week. The first week of July is sub-subscriber week, where if you want to just subscribe for the half of the year, from July to December. I know on July 1st, we're going to get all 14 partner labels, 3 Vinegar Syndrome films. Every day they're going to drop something new. Like one day is going to be a VSL, one's going to be a VSA. There's going to be another new Degosser. I think there's another VSP, a VSP. Yeah. So maybe that can finally be, let's see, Darth would like to see.
Right?
I'd like to see the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance series from 2019 on disc. Love the original movie as a kid. This is one that I think, whatever reason, the ratings weren't good, and Netflix will drop things.
Weird.
Yeah, Netflix will drop things real quick based off that. I do not recommend Cruel Jaws. I watched it last night with what a heap of crap. Oh, is that the Bruno Mattei?
Yeah, the one, one verse Severin had to, take off the shelves.
Oh, I got that exclusive slipcover. Do you have it?
No. Do you know it's worth like $150 now?
Do you know that you've been cracking this whole video with your voice?
What?
You haven't done your video. You've been cracking off and on, not the whole thing. I don't know if it's it could be because I'm hosting during the summer and a lot of people are at home because kids are out of school.
Oh.
And a lot of people get on the live streams. I just have no control of it. It might not even be on your end. So I didn't want to say it and throw you off, but you've been cracking off and on like you've been nervous or something. Okay, yes.
Oh, here we go.
Jason, I have an ultra obscure film question for you. Are you up for it? I hope so. Let's bring it on. So yeah, Netflix, if the ratings aren't good. Do you remember the show Glow? The gorgeous lady from wrestling? I don't even like wrestling. That show was great. Then the pandemic hit, and they didn't give us the ending. They didn't give us the final season. It has no closure. And I was like, such a well-done show. And it bums me out that we didn't get to finish that. There's nothing more frustrating than a series not getting its closure. Malcolm sounds perfect. There's nothing wrong.
Thanks, George.
Okay, speaking of Cruel Jaws, do you think that Severin will actually take the risk and put out The Last Shark with Vic Morrow, which is a film that came out briefly for like a weekend in the summer of '82. Universal got wind of it. From what I've heard, it got pulled because they bought the rights to it.
Oh.
So they could basically shut it down. So you've only been able to get bootleg copies of it. Is there any way in hell that they try to slide it out as a weekend exclusive one day in the future? Or is that just too much of a risk of getting sued and having your company go under? I don't think the risk reward is worth it. It's not great. It's like Cruel Jaws. It's not great, but there's such one of Vic Morrow's last roles, killer shark film. I mean, I'd buy it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we will definitely do the Vinegar Syndrome sale just the one day on Monday. I'm not going to come back every day for one drop. I'm hoping because the Gosser video, they just released The Ripper from the same people who made Blood Cult. I'm hoping Blood Cult is this next week, and we don't have to wait till November. Funny thing is, remember how I said how much I hated The Ripper? Yeah. It was like the movie that turned me off the shot on video.
You loved it, right? After watching it again?
I didn't love it, but it's not unwatchable. And the thing that bothered me the most was Tom Savini in the extra feature. So Michael Felsher from Red Shirt Pictures has a really good relationship with him. He's gotten him to open up about Nightmare. And then Tom Savini just bitches about, oh God, the Ripper is out in the world again, blah, blah, blah. He got paid $10,000 for one day.
$10,000?
$10,000, and that's mid-80s dollars. So in inflation, who knows how much that would have been getting paid today? And he's just so quick. It's like, Savini, you've done a lot of shitty films, either that you did the makeup effects for, or you worked on as a director. So I kind of tired. I don't have the best kind of like respect for him.
Yeah,
because I met him.
That's Tom Savini for you, though. He's like the Bret Hart of movies.
I'd love to see his house get a Blu-ray release, British horror on Netflix. Never heard of it. Got to look it up.
Good film.
Yeah. So, I've thought about doing, as you know, I'm not a big convention guy like I used to be. Haven't done one forever. But people are kind of shy about calling out people. Now, everybody's experience is different. But almost universally, Tom Savini is on everybody's "that's my bad experience" list. And I get it. I watched the documentary on him, and I know he had a divorce that cost him a lot of money. So a lot of the dough that he made from conventions was going right to his ex-wife. But having said that, you should still be respectful to your fans. And
of course.
He's just not, I'm not a big fan. I mean,
I think the problem with Tom Savini is he feels like he's better than he is. Is he a master? Yeah, of course he was. And he probably still is. But, you're not a master without the people that appreciate your work.
Yeah, that was my little rant. I know that's kind of frowned upon, but it's like, I kind of try to be as open and honest as I can about experiences or whatever. I don't go into details per se, but it's one of the reasons why I stopped going to conventions. One, I got burnt out. Two, the prices are outrageous. And three, it's become so much about the business that it's blatant how they're like just getting fans in and out like meatpacker workers. They're just churning out and like, okay, get your 5-second. Now you're paying for selfies. You're paying for photo ops. You're paying to get in the door. You're paying for parking. I'm like, holy crap, how much? That's $200-$300, maybe more.
Well,
I could buy a lot of physical media with that.
It's like I told you before, I knew this woman, every year she'd go to Comic-Con, she'd buy a picture, an autograph to go with the picture, and basically she'd spend like $2-3 grand every year just to put them in a folder. And she'd pay for the most expensive ones as well.
I think I spent maybe my first 2 years of doing conventions. I did some autographs, and I still have like Reggie Bannister. Speaking of Reggie Bannister.
Have you thought about getting yourself a table, convention, in case people want you to sign copies of Delirium?
I would have nobody. The only way I could get people to walk up to me if I had a table at a convention is if Full Moon had a booth, which they always do. Then they would walk up, not because of me, but because it's a Full Moon booth. But
you're putting yourself down because you had an event at Dark Delices for you to sign Deliriums.
Well, I was one of like many cool people that I was just, I mean, it was because Joe Dante was there or somebody, that was more, Roger Corman or somebody who was more significant. At least she got the VIP seating. Okay, so before I forget, Malcolm and I have a couple of things we do. We're all over the place with doing videos, kind of throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks because you just never know what clicks with people. We did one video with Jose Prendes, but it's really more Malcolm and I called Cinematic Fart Blower Theater, where we make
That was
fun
brilliant.
of
I thought it was really good.
It was fun. It was entertaining, but we haven't done one for like a while. We're going to do one in a couple weeks.
Yep.
I do like the Phantasm series, but Phantasm 5 Ravager is an absolute cinematic fart blower. I didn't like it. I don't want to say too much on it because I want to save that air for that video, but we'll probably do that in 2 weeks' time. Phantasm.
So let me get this right. So it's Vinegar Syndrome next week, Fart Blow the week after, right?
And then after that, I was thinking about this. I want to do a video on Friday the 13th series, not retrospective, but why I think they should just never make another one. Not because I don't like them. It's actually my second favorite series behind A Nightmare on Elm Street. The problem is...
That'd be a good video, actually, because I've got a lot to say about that myself.
Well, I just feel like the legal stuff has caused way too many problems that it's been 15 years since the remake from Platinum Dunes. Like Victor Miller, who wrote the original, has some rights, but then Sean Cunningham has some. There was the TV series that Brad Fuller was going to do, but was going to be a prequel, and fuck prequels. I don't want to see. I don't care about Pamela Voorhees.
Well, no, baby, on prequels because you hated the first Omen.
Well, yeah, and I don't want to see a young Jason Voorhees. That's anticlimactic. I don't care about Pamela. I want Jason set in contemporary time.
Hold on. I just want to say this quickly. You said women get given a hard time. So what's wrong with Pamela Voorhees? Are you putting women down because you don't want to see her as the lead?
It's Friday the 13th. I want to see Jason.
Hold on, but it's a woman in the position. And you said earlier, as I quote, I think women get rougher and people don't want to see them because of whatever reason. And you just said, I don't want to see Pamela Voorhees, who is probably the second most important character to the franchise.
She's irrelevant.
She came first.
She's irrelevant in the big scheme of things. I'm talking about superhero films where the lead, it's a Wonder Woman film. So guess what I want to see? Wonder Woman, not Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and if I want to see Friday the 13th, I want to see Pamela Voorhees because she is the original killer.
Well, the good thing is the Peacock series, now A24 series, is having problems. It was going to be like $1 million an episode. Jason Voorhees, and all I want is him in the mask and the machete killing stupid teenagers and nudity. But there's still a rights issue. Even though the court settlement's done, I think we might just need to leave Friday the 13th alone, but I'll save that for another.
Hold on a minute. I've said yes. All I'm going to say here is pass.
Any idea what the mystery movie from the 80s was? No one seems to know. Which one is that for Vinegar Syndrome?
No, that's further up. It was the 80s, and I saw a film with a topless woman holding a whip while a guy was strapped to a spinning wheel. Then my dad told me to turn it off. No idea what it was. Might be on Melusine now.
I just know next week with Vinegar Syndrome, we're getting a double feature of Intrepidos, Punks, and another film that either might be a sequel to it or very similar, like Mad Max, kind of crazy 80s. But
it's in Spanish.
Yes. Actually, I can tell you what it is right now. I have it on my phone. Okay. This is what's July 1st is going to be 3 releases: Intrepidos, Punks, and another film called La Venganza de los Punks. That's a Blu-ray double feature.
Yeah, that's one. That counts as one, guys. That counts as one but 2 features.
And there's 2 other releases. One's a horror film and one's an action film. The possibilities of the action film being Cynthia Rothrock are very good. And up prior to watching China O'Brien 1 and 2, I would have said, please stop with the Cynthia Rothrock. But China O'Brien really reminded me like a Walking Tall, but with Cynthia Rothrock. I really thought it was for a direct-to-video release. It had really good production value. It was believable that she was a cop that killed somebody because, she had to, but the gun, she's like, I'm done with guns. I'm going back home. Dad's the sheriff, but they got a lot of trouble in town. I thought it was a really good film. The sequel was not as good, but I still enjoyed it. It's just the first one was China O'Brien double feature. I was really surprised how good those films were.
I'm hoping the action one is Rage of Honor 1 and 2 with her and Richard Norton.
If it is, wouldn't that be 3 months straight of Rothrock titles? I mean, obviously June is the partner label, but 3 Vinegar Syndrome months in a row of Rothrock.
That's true. But to be honest with you, I think they're on the roll at the minute. I think they need to keep releasing them.
I mean, I enjoyed China O'Brien so much. I kind of want the site to open back up. So I think a lot of them are out of print or because they were VSAs. But I kind of want to go back and get, what's that one that came out?
Get some of them, man.
What's the
Wands
one?
of Justice is a good one because she's practically naked. You see her breasts in the bra because it's practically see-through. Magic Crystal?
The fantasy one that just came out. I think it was VSA.
Magic Crystal.
Magic Crystal. There you go.
I own that twice. I own the Eureka one. That new Nosferatu one looks good, but it's a bit weird. I can't imagine anything being better than the original.
Well, that's Robert Eggers, who loves his black and white, doing The Lighthouse and The Witch. I'm down for it. I mean, it looks like it's a black and white film, but there's hints of like blue and some color, but that's kind of his thing. He likes that aesthetic. Hey, vampire films have been rocking the last couple of years. Renfield and the other one.
Renfield, I love that. My favorite scene in Renfield is when Nicolas Cage turns up at the support meeting. I love that scene. It's just so amazing.
I mean, Universal, last year with Renfield and then this year with Abigail, 2 bloodbaths, right? Talking about studio film.
Oh, I loved Abigail. Abigail was brilliant.
Abigail is probably my favorite so far this year, but there's a long way to go. I know that Long Legs is about to come out, which is obviously more serious, but also with Nicolas Cage. I feel like I need to wait a little bit to watch it. People are kind of overhyping it to the point that I think they're setting themselves up for disappointment if it's not I like the director. He's done some good stuff. But people are, the best thing so far has been the advertising, the trailer, the viral marketing. That's
you're in for a treat, George.
Abigail, cannot wait to watch that movie. Abigail I saw it in theaters. It's actually worth a blind buy, but you might want to watch it first. It's from the directors of Scream 5, Scream 6.
Alex wasn't even born there, Darth Sidious. Alex wasn't even born back then. he was born like what? 2004. Actually, no, 2012. So he's like 13.
Speaking of Nosferatu, is the Klaus Kinski Werner Herzog version on Blu-ray?
Yeah. Yes, because there's 2, isn't there? Because there's the one where there's one, and then there's the one where he's in Venice. Right?
Yeah, I used to have the Anchor Bay DVD, and now with the new Nosferatu coming out, I probably want to revisit it or buy it.
Because I know the Nosferatu, the first one, because one's isn't okay. Let me get this right, because I could be wrong here. One was the Werner Herzog one, right, and the Venice one was more of an exploitation one, right?
Right. Okay. The Werner Herzog is from '79 with Klaus Kinski. The one in Venice was late '80s, but also with Klaus. That's the one that Severin released, right?
That's what I thought. The Werner Herzog one is in the box set over here, I believe, because there is a big box set of Werner Herzog, plus the one in America from Shout Factory. I think it's in that. I believe. I haven't got the sets, but I believe it's in there.
Do you have any idea what scene movie I'm talking about in the question above? No one has a clue. Is that where the mystery movie from the 80s, or am I missing a comment?
Yeah, it's the mystery movie from the 80s.
What other clues do we have?
Woman naked, whipping a guy on a wheel.
I have no clue. It's all good. But yeah,
I still think he's talking about Gwendolyn.
Oh, with
What's
her
her
name?
name?
Tawny
Oh,
Katane?
what's her name? The one who passed away recently.
Tawny Katane.
Yeah, that's it. Because
That's
there is a scene
Severin.
on that with a wheel where they're whipping.
Yeah, so that's Severin put that out. Gwendolyn and the
Yeah.
perils of the yik yak or yak yak or
Yeah, the yak yak, paddy whack, give the dog a bone.
where she spends most of the movie with a thong up her butt.
Yeah, which is quite nice. My favourite scene in that is when they have the phone sex, but just talking to each other in the cell.
Yeah, that's I didn't pick up that one. I thought it was like kind of Indiana Jones with a heavy dose of nudity, but what about okay.
Yeah, that's
What
weird.
about Russell Crowe?
That is so weird because when I first saw that announced, I went, "Oh, they made a sequel to The Pope's Exorcist," and it isn't. It's a completely different film. So I guess now he's going to be doing those type of movies.
The problem too is the artwork looks exactly the same as the other film.
It does. It looks like it's a sequel.
It's just a shot of Russell Crowe's big head. I watched the trailer. I wasn't a big fan of The Pope's Exorcist, but it did have some stuff I liked. I thought Russell Crowe was good, but the horror wasn't done well. But this film coming out about a year later or so, I
like The Pope's Exorcist, but for some reason, over here, it was only released on DVD.
That's very confusing, man. I don't know. I think it got a small theatrical release over here last weekend, but that sounds like something I'll wait to stream because the risk reward of going to see something like that's not,
I mean, originally, me and Axe were going to go and see it in the cinema. And then basically, we didn't go and see it. We ended up seeing something else. I can't remember what the film was. I think it was Evil Dead Rises, I believe, possibly.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
I know that I know a lot of people liked it. I guess
I didn't like Evil Dead Rises. I thought it was ridiculous. I thought it was over the top, stupid, and my problem with it, more than anything, is the over explanation of every character in the movie. That's one of my biggest problems with any movie. If you have to over explain characters, then the character's not good enough.
With certain series, I'm a purist, and I kind of like them to, Evil Dead was
to the original material.
Well, Evil Dead is somewhat serious, and obviously 2 is slapstick, and 3 is a horror.
So
comedy.
basically, you're redescribing Texas Chainsaw Massacre again, right? But with Evil Dead, so basically, you're fighting your own thing again with that.
No, because the problem is, up until Ash versus Evil Dead, that series was great. I actually think the television series was even better than the films, and the reason was it allowed the Ash character to be the true womanizer they've always hinted at. He cussed, he drank beer. It allowed his character just to be what the films never allowed him to do. I loved, I think it was 3 seasons, and it kind of left an open ending, but that's okay because I feel like that series doesn't need closure. With the remake, it was bloody, but it was kind of too serious. And with Rise,
you talk about the 2013 remake.
I felt like they exist in their own world. Yes, they are part of the Evil Dead series, but they're kind of their own thing.
The best Evil Deads are the Evil Dead traps.
The Japanese films?
Yeah. You've seen them, right?
No, I know there's a couple of them, and I think that try to remember who put them out on disc.
Who put them out on disc was Unearthed Films, I think, put the ones in America. Over here it was AA Films.
What do you think of Baghead? Malk liked it. Oh dear, oh dear. Is that out right now, like on physical media or streaming? Or?
Yeah, that's it's been out for a while. Baghead's got the girl in there who was in The Witcher.
So, Alex, the fact that Malcolm liked it, I probably won't like it.
That's charming, isn't it?
Well, no, because we agree on a lot, but I think with newer films, I'm a little bit more I'm a little bit not pickier, just they don't the ones that are too serious, people call them like slow burns. I call them boring with no payoff.
Well, Baghead isn't serious.
Oh, is it more humor?
In a way. I mean, Peter Mullen's in it. Basically, Peter Mullen is in control of this being, which is in the basement. Right? He tries to end himself. She ends up going there, that Frey Allen, she ends up going there and she finds it. And basically, she ends up communicating with it and it can basically bring back people that are dead for you to talk to them. That's where the bag head thing comes off. Take the bag off after it's touched something and basically brings that person back in its body for like a certain amount of time.
Oh, what?
What? That's charming, isn't it?
It just sounds. I will eventually watch it.
I'll tell you a funny film I watched, a funny horror film that I found was hilarious. Ma. M.A. Ma. You've seen that film from Blue Mouse, right?
That actually was really well done. That's with the girl from forgot the lady's name. She's a lead, but that was actually a well done Blumhouse film that kind of like, if I remember right, I liked it. The ending was good, but in the deleted scenes, the ending with the alternate ending or original ending was better because it kind of gave her more like a, come back, almost like a Michael Myers type vibe. No, Ma is good.
I was laughing the whole way through the movie.
No, because remember she goes and parties with the kids and
yeah, that's what I mean. That's what was making me laugh so much.
But she's got the trauma, from growing up, and I'm glad you brought that up because
I call it, because I know someone who acts just like that way. I call it the life and times of blankly blank, because I won't say their name because obviously I don't want to insult anybody. And that's what it reminded me of. But I can see why you liked it because it does have some really great traumatic moments in it from where you can see what happened to her. I agree with that. And I like the fact that the character is very simple, but not in a bad way, but in a simple of, you're like, if you just thought a little bit more clearer, you'd have a little bit more understanding of certain situations. And I like that about the character. The character felt very natural, but also very obsessive for obvious reasons, because that's part of the movie. But I did like the movie. I just thought it was funny.
So let me do a recap. We recommend, these films on Netflix. Definitely check them out. Next Monday, schedules, as long as they don't change, we're going to do the Vinegar Syndrome sale on July 1st, the following week. We're going to make fun of Phantasm Ravager because it sucks. Possibly after that, we'll do it the Friday the 13th franchise. Does it need to die, or is it something we want to see return? I want to thank everybody for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel. But yeah, I think we kind of hit the end of the road for this video. Thank you everybody for coming into the chat. I appreciate the regulars who keep coming back and making it lively because it's fun for Malcolm and I to talk. It's even more interactive with you guys. Maybe one of these days, if somebody wants to come on the channel, I have no problem bringing you on. And I'm not just saying that to be cool. I know a lot of people are not comfortable being in front of the camera. I get it, because when you're on the spot, trust me, when you hit live and you hit record, it's kind of different than being in the comment section. So, but I'm totally open to kind of making this more, fan friendly.
Cool. That sounds good. Hey, George, take care.
Thank you, George. Hey,
hit the thumbs up.
Okay, Aaron is in the house. How was your trip, Aaron? Did you buy some physical media? Did you buy anything for Malcolm and George? That's my question.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Were you spreading the wealth around and looking out for your BFFs? But no, but anyways, guys, thank you everybody for stopping by. thank you, Alex. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, George. Thank you, Darcidius. And we will talk to you guys very soon.